Hello, and welcome to Bobcat Report. I'm Colin Young. Hays County pays huge amounts of money to other counties to house its prisoners.
And the U.S. government will investigate how well Texas State is complying with requirements to report crime on campus. I'm Jenna Ramos. We'll have these reports and more coming up next on Bobcat Report.
Hays County is growing fast, and one of the less pleasant effects of that growth is an increase in crime. Shay Salgado says we've outgrown our county jail, and it's costing a bundle to pay other counties to take our excess prisoners.
According to the most recent reports read at this week's Commissioner's Court, the inmate population has continued to grow since hitting a peak of 478 inmates last March. Since then, the daily average number of inmates has grown to 547 with a peak on October 21st of 556. According to reports, the cost of holding these excess inmates in other counties cost Hays County $82,963 last week. Currently, an expansion project is in progress to add 192 beds to the current 362 that the jail holds now. However, standards require the jail to keep at least 10% of the space available, meaning the expansion project would still not satisfy the needs of the county.
I don't think it's going to solve the problem, and I think everyone realizes that, which is why we're trying to be upfront about it and not just say, oh, well, we can just wait for these beds to open up when the new jail opens.
To find alternate solutions to the issue, the county has formed a criminal justice commission comprised of county officials, including law enforcement, the DA's office, and the county commissioners, among others. One idea the commission has considered is pretrial release for those not deemed a hazard to public safety.
So basically, people that are incarcerated for nonviolent offenses, don't really have a large criminal history, just poor people that can't pay their bond, right? They can get out on this pretrial release program, and it's sort of like probation. You have to check in with the PO, you have to get a drug test, you have to pay a small fee, things like that.
Expansion on the jail is still in progress, and recently Hays County struck up an agreement with Travis County to house overflow inmates at the Travis County Jail. For Bobcat Report, I'm Shay Salgado.
Texas State may be in trouble when it comes to communicating crime rates on campus. The Clery Act is a federal policy that requires universities to disclose information about crimes on campus. The U.S. Department of Education will be conducting a review on the university's compliance with the Clery Act. Texas State's efforts to maintain the required policies of the act started early this year when University Police Chief Lori Klaus was hired. Chief Klaus has since formed a Clery Compliance Committee. President Trouth plans to update the facility and students on the progress of the review.
One way students can stay safe on campus is Bobcat Bobbies, the escort program run by University Police. But now there's an expanded version of the program that uses vans instead of golf carts. Emma Pennington has the story.
The Safe Ride program is an escort system sponsored by the University Police Department. Unlike Bobcat Bobbies, Safe Ride can pick up students past 1 a.m. and take students to off-campus stops like Mill Street and Bobcat Village. Officer Otto Glenwinkle says the program works through an app called TapRide.
So the TapRide app is an app that you download on your mobile device. And what the app does is once you put in your university email address or choose Texas State University, it loads up pre-designated pickup locations that can be utilized either through the Bobcat Bobby program or through the Safe Ride program.
Safe Ride vans escort students from 10:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. when the university shuttle system isn't running. Students who live on campus, like Brianna Medina, enjoy the convenience of the program.
I rely on it to go home at night when I'm at the rec working out, or when I don't feel safe, or whenever it's really cold outside. I use it, and I think it's really nice to have that here on campus because everything's a walking distance.
Safe Ride is a part of Texas State's effort to enhance their safety initiative. UPD hopes that students will continue to use resources available to them.
You know, Texas State University is really trying to diversify our safety programs. So with the TapRide app, with the Rave mobile app, which is our the Guardian app, which is our safety app, we're really trying to do a good job of reaching more students and having people utilize more of those resources.
It's recommended that students download the TapRide app so that if they are ever on campus after shuttle hours, they can find a safe ride. For Bobcat Report, I'm Emma Pennington.
San Marcos City Council elections were held on Tuesday, and two close races found one councilman reelected and another candidate taking office for the first time. Saul Gonzalez, a San Marcos native, was reelected to City Council Place 2. Gonzalez said he wants to help senior citizens relieve their tax burden. Gonzalez said it was his goal to run a clean campaign. In another tight race, Maxfield Baker was elected to City Council Place 1. Baker says he intends to prioritize criminal justice reform and affordable housing.
Coming up on Bobcat Report, you still have time to get your flu shot.
And Texas State researchers find a link between social media use and increased anxiety. We'll have those stories after the break.
We heard some of you think the San Marcos Public Library is just for doing homework.
And some of you think the library hasn't changed since you were a kid.
Well, guess what, y'all? The San Marcos Public Library is bigger and better than ever.
Why don't you take me to the library? Why don't you take me to the library?
You know the library has books, but did you know it has audiobooks and DVDs too? You can even download ebooks and audiobooks from their website. The San Marcos Public Library has a lifetime of information and entertainment in person and online.
Do you want to go to the San Marcos Public Library right now?
Yes, I do.
Last year, a little over 2,000 Texas State students came down with the flu. It's flu season again, and Blade Brister has tips for dealing with the bug this year.
Each year, the CDC develops a flu vaccine based on the research and surveillance from the prior season, according to the Student Health Center.
The vaccine is done months in advance, so it is ready for distribution during the flu season. Petri Doshi, a nurse practitioner at the Student Health Center, says if students feel ill, they should use common sense.
If they feel sick, first of all, avoid contact going to class. So making sure they are staying at home, drinking plenty of fluids, taking medications like ibuprofen, Tylenol to keep the fever down. If they get really worse, then coming to the student health clinic or to any of their physicians that they go to. Covering their hands and mouth when they're coughing and sneezing. So those would be the basic things.
From September 2018 to August 2019, the flu infected a total of 2,465 students. According to the Student Health Center, the Health Center gave out 500 flu shots on the San Marcos campus and 136 flu shots at the Round Rock campus. The effectiveness of the flu shot varies from person to person, and it usually depends on a person's health and age. Texas State senior Christina Castro tells us her story about coming to class sick because of her professor.
I felt like that was really unfair for me personally, having to come when I felt like really, really sick. And I told the professor, I was like, I don't want to get everybody else sick. And he was like, well, it's going to affect your grade. And I'm like, but it's going to affect the class. People getting sick too. So I don't know. I just thought it was like really unfair.
The flu virus changes season to season and sometimes within the same season. The Health Center urges students and faculty to get the flu vaccine to reduce the chance of catching the influenza by 40 to 60%. Also, washing hands and drinking plenty of fluids and eating a healthy diet decreases the chance of contracting the virus. For Bobcat Report, I'm Blade Brister.
Up to now, Texas State has not offered a degree in film, but that's changing, as Jenna Ramos reports.
Students wanting to focus on film are finally able to sign up for the first classes in the new film concentration. They used to pursue a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Performance and Production, as this was the only program that offered some classes in film production. But this semester, more classes were added that focus on the film industry. Mackenzie Owsley says it's just what she's been waiting for.
I guess I like just how intensive it is on film and all the aspects of it. Like, you have to take a production for set design class. You have to take a class for editing. You have to take advanced directing. You have to take screenwriting. And then a lot of the electives they offer are like TV writing and just stuff like that.
Texas State has a strong and successful theater program, but the university is recognizing the growing demand of students wanting to take film courses because they incorporate different facets of mass communication.
All of great cinema, all of great streaming comes from writing and from performing and that nexus, right? I mean, and one of the most exciting things to me about the fine arts and cinema and film is that it's the one art that it can incorporate every single other art.
The university is planning to renovate the Aqua Sports Center to aid the new film concentration with a soundstage, recording booth, computer lab, and space for filming. A detailed timeline is not yet available to the public. For Bobcat Report, I'm Jenna Ramos.
Is time spent on social media related to mental health difficulties? A new study done at Texas State University identified 2 predictors of generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD. Social media users who compare themselves to others who seem to be better off and posting while under the influence. The research team included professors from the psychology department and Department of Communication Studies. The survey responses showed that individuals who experience GAD are more likely to be bothered by being unfollowed. Social media users who compare themselves to others and post under the influence are more likely to have social media addiction.
Musicians in San Marcos face a challenge: how to stand out in a crowded field. Michael Emo has this report on the local music scene.
Wesma have been playing for about 3 years now. Adrian Perez is the oldest member of the group, while Rachel, Laith, and Alejandro make up the new lineup for the band. Because San Marcos is a college town, they believe it is the perfect place to grow as an artist.
I think the college students, I feel like they want to be exposed to live stuff and
in
art.
more intimate settings than going to see
super large crowds and stuff.
Garrett Moore is a music promoter. He says it's hard to book shows because venues are getting picky.
Venues are a huge part of the scene, and they're struggling a lot, it seems like. The common thing you hear a lot of times is that nobody wants to pay for a show out here, and you can tell with venues and how they treat shows, it's they tend to be kind of selective because they know that they can't get people to come out very easily.
According to datausa.io, out of roughly 60,000 people living in San Marcos, 34.7 make up the largest demographic living in poverty, which are male and females 18 to 24 years old.
I didn't want to make it. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't want to make it sound like I think that the scene isn't supportive of artists. But yeah, college kids just don't have a lot of money.
I think necessarily it starts off with just having a good group of friends that support you, that'll come out to your shows and stuff. Because if you get that, then normally I feel like you can get traction and you can get people to start coming to your shows. It comes with being also just generally a good person. You don't necessarily see people that are kind of bad persons succeeding in this kind of thing because they don't network properly or they don't they burn their bridges a lot.
KTSW has gotten to be a part of the rise of a lot of different artists.
KTSW is a local radio station in San Marcos. They play an integral spot in making sure that local music gets the platform it deserves by allowing artists to perform on their Studio C session shows.
We just have so many programs and so many series and things that look for the musicians around San Marcos and Austin, just local in general. We actively seek these people out. So if someone is expressing that interest to us and saying, hey, we would love to come in for a Studio C session, or we would love to do a band of the week with you, or hey, we're having a show, we would love a music journalist to come out. Oftentimes those things get fulfilled, especially because we have our promotions department as well that loves to throw, they're responsible for throwing a lot of our music showcases and stuff too. And we're always looking for fresh and new talent.
Texas State accepts either digital or physical albums. You can drop it off at the Trinity Building or visit our website at ktswmusic at texasstate.edu. For Bobcat Update, I'm Michael Emo.
Here's a welcome development. Food trucks are coming back to San Marcos.
And it's homecoming week. We'll report on the events leading up to the big day when Bobcat Report continues.
To some, it may simply mean food in a plastic tin, but to others, it could mean a blessing. This is Meals on Wheels.
Well, it is a blessing, first of all, and I do appreciate all that they've done, the ones that prepare the meals, and my mobility is very difficult. So there's times that really just not even safe for me to be at the stove.
Meals on Wheels strives to provide any person over the age of 60 who is on Medicaid a daily hot meal right to their doorstep. Volunteers make up most of the organization and help the idea of providing daily meals for the community a reality.
Well, I'm the site manager this is our Allenwood site. We gather meals and put together meals for our homebound clients. We put out about 80 meals a day, and we have somewhere between 60 to 75 hot meals that we send out to our homebound clients. And we have somewhere around 15 clients that come in and eat lunch with us, and we serve them a hot lunch here.
If you want to be able to provide an incredible service and be the helping hand for those who need it most, call 800-333-6325 or visit mealsonwheelscentraltexas.org.
After disappearing from San Marcos for a few years, food trucks are making a comeback. Colin Young has that story.
Due to health regulation laws on mobile businesses, most permanent San Marcos food trucks went where permits were easier to come by. However, at the newly founded Aloe Eatery in San Marcos, food trucks have been adding up one by one. That's on the intersection of LBJ and Chestnut Street, right off of Texas State campus. Food truck owner Deborah Williams says having a commercial kitchen in front of the food park, which is now required by the city to cook their food, is how these food trucks adapt to the changes.
We chose this place because it has a commissary kitchen. That's the commissary kitchen, and that's required in San Marcos, that you visit a commissary kitchen every day.
The city is still adding changes, however, with San Marcos planning to start requiring mobile vendors to use recyclable utensils and no styrofoam.
And if they're going to enforce it on the food trailers, I think they should enforce it on those big corporations as well, not just the food trailers.
More food trucks have now made their home at Aloe Eatery and will be open for business soon. For Bobcat Report, I'm Colin Young. Diversity is emphasized at Texas State, but some students don't think it has much impact. To address that issue, student government has implemented its first Diversity Week, as Brittany Thomas reports.
Texas State is known for its diverse culture, but according to the University Stars segment, Quad Talk, many students feel that we lack inclusivity. Student Body President Corey Benbow talks about how Diversity Week is the start for upholding inclusivity.
It is a diversity week, but I think it's really about creating a movement, creating a conversation on campus, creating a campus culture that really celebrates the diversity, the rich diversity that exists here, and how we can best move forward. And so this job won't be done after this week. And we have to understand diversity, equity, and inclusion is really everybody's job.
Many organizations that don't normally get much exposure were able to take part in the week of events. Benbow says that student government's role in Diversity Week can help reform what has happened on campus in the past.
There's been a lot of different white supremacist stuff going on around here, a lot of neo-Nazi stuff, and so as a community we really haven't healed from that, and student government's reputation has been fractured by those things. And so I think this is a good way to really reintroduce student government to the university community, but do it in a big way.
This initiative doesn't stop at Diversity Week. According to Bimbo, a docuseries that focuses on diversity will be underway in the spring semester. For Bobcat Report, I'm Brittany Thomas.
The 2019 Homecoming Spirit Rally was filled with food, fun, and a lot of Bobcat spirit. The event was held in the Student Rec Center. Bobcats got it popping with Boko the Bobcat, our 2019 homecoming court, and cheerleaders. Students were able to get free pizza and popcorn, homecoming gear, and tarot card readings. The Spirit Rally has Bobcats ready for our homecoming game this Saturday at 2 p.m. against South Alabama. Go Bobcats!
The end of the semester is almost here, and a lot of students are scrambling to finish projects. Often, those students have to tap into the knowledge of their professors to finish the job. But Peyton Spurlock says all too often, those professors aren't around to help.
Uncooperative professors are not something one would expect to run into often while working on school projects, but the issue is becoming more prevalent. Uncooperative professors can be felt throughout the campus no matter the major. However, student media and others working on communication assignments where interviews are required seem to get professors rejecting their interview requests quite often. Lexi Garrett, a Texas State senior, says she has definitely run into her fair share of professors who have denied her interviews.
I think it shows a lack of professionalism on the part of the professor, because if they're expecting us to do the project or whatnot, and for them to not take the time out of their day to explain it or give clarification, I think it makes students really not want to do well on the project or not really care.
Larry Carlson, a professor who teaches a class where recording interviews is core to the class, deals with his uncooperative colleagues daily. Carlson says he is disappointed at the number of professors who won't talk with or help students on projects, especially seeing how students look up to the professors as authority figures in their respective fields. It's like running into a stone wall.
It's hard for me to understand. I know people are busy. We're all busy. And you hear that sometimes from even friends. Well, I'm busy or this or that. Everyone's busy. But when it's your job to take some time to cooperate with students in whatever area, whether they're students in your class, prospective students for the future, or something like student media, it doesn't take that much. It's just a little bit of time. So that's all that I wish we could get from some more professors. Most are very cooperative, but every now and then you just kind of run into people that, for whatever reason, can't or won't take time.
There will always be professors who won't do interviews for whatever reason. I brought this up in hopes that the small number of uncooperative professors will realize students aren't a hindrance, but are in fact the way forward. For Bobcat Report, I'm Peyton Spurlock.
That's all for this edition of Bobcat Report. I'm Jenna Ramos.
And I'm Colin Young. Join us again in 2 weeks. Until then,